What's up, everybody? This is Eddie with Up Next Hoops. Today, we've got another episode of the podcast. It's a real pleasure of mine to have my boy, my brother, Duke guard Michael Savarino joining us today. Welcome, Mike. How's it going?
Hey, I appreciate you having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, man.
You're my guy, so I had to hop on this. So I'm glad we finally got season 2, right? Is this what it is?
Season 2, episode 1. You're the first guest.
Let's do it.
Who better?
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. No, I really appreciate it. It's been a kind of a long time coming. We've talked about it, the last year or so about doing something like this. So it really is good to have you. I know we've talked about it behind the scenes a little bit, but how I'd like to structure this is just kind of like to get you, started with how you got your start in basketball. And if you can kind of elaborate on that, some of your earliest memories.
Yeah, absolutely. So really, I was basically born with the ball in my hands. So I'm pretty sure I picked up a ball when I was probably 2 or 3 years old. I don't specifically remember, like, I have a memory to where I literally, this is when I started loving basketball. But like I said, I started at a really young age and I was watching basketball. I was playing on the little, what is it? Are they the little Dyson hoops? What those called?
The little tykes?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So I was playing on those. But yeah, I probably remember like really starting to get into it when I was 6 or 7 and like, oh, this is what I love to do. And yeah. So
awesome. Did you I was the same way, but also as a kid, I experimented with other sports. Did you play anything else, or was it just basketball right from the beginning?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And I think that's like an important topic to like actually talk about. Well, like growing up, I played everything. I mean, up until about middle school, like you can name any sport, I was playing everything. But like my 3 main sports were lacrosse, football, and basketball. Obviously in the reverse order: football, basketball, and then lacrosse. But I was really, really into those. My school, Durham Academy, we didn't have a football team. And so in middle school, all these kids were going through, puberty and stuff like that, and like getting a lot bigger, and I was pretty small. And so around 6th grade, I dropped football and lacrosse just to go full blown basketball and play like travel. That was my first year AAU. But like I said earlier, I think it's important for like younger kids to keep playing other sports. You can have one sport that you love the most, but like, I don't want to talk too futuristic, but when I have kids, I'm going to make sure that they stay with the other sports. And I'm not regretting my decision of dropping basketball and playing like AAU. Like I would do that. I'd do it again. Like just because I want to be playing basketball every second of the day. Like it's what I love to do. But it's important because you learn so many other things in other sports. You get to meet new people. Number one, you get to be a part of a different team, a different culture. You also like, you become a better athlete that way. And I think that I may have missed out on some of those opportunities by not playing those sports, but also was robbed of that opportunity because my middle school and high school didn't have football, just football. We had lacrosse, but I did play my 8th grade year, but I dropped it after that. And then that was that. But it's really been all basketball since 6th grade. So
nice. Yeah, no, that's something I talk about with like parents all the time, like on the training side. Like I'll talk to parents that have like a 7, 8-year-old kid, and they're like, we're trying to get, little Johnny to like just lock in on basketball. And I'm like, no, like the best thing you can do is let them play multiple sports. Because like you said, I mean, you pick up things from different sports that you wouldn't maybe in basketball.
No, absolutely.
Growing up, I played soccer, and soccer got like my cardio was ridiculous from soccer,
right,
and footwork and stuff too. So like that all kind of translated over with me to basketball as well, and same could go for any sport you're talking about, baseball, football. So I think it's important just to let kids be kids, play whatever sport you want. And ultimately whatever sport they decide on in the future, having played those other sports will help them in that sport.
I completely agree. And like, if the kids want to individualize and like be solely and play one sport, like that's fine. Just like push that back as far as you can. You know what I mean? Push it back to high school or late high school. You know what I mean? Like enjoy the other sports. And be like, the thing I didn't realize is that I thought like the other sports were taking away like my practice time from basketball, like way I could work out and stuff like that. So like it was always in my head that, somebody was putting in more work than me, and that was always bothering me. So that's another reason why I stopped.
So you had that mindset at like an early age.
I don't know what it was, but that mindset was definitely prevalent when I was younger.
Were you the type of kid that was like always good in basketball, or were you like more of a late bloomer?
I would say I was pretty average. I mean,
Yeah.
I've obviously added to my game a lot more in the future. Not in the future,
Yeah.
like in the recent years, like a lot to my game, but I've always been able to shoot the ball. Um, but I used to be a lot taller than this. Like in eighth grade, I was a big guard. Probably I was a little taller than some of my teammates. And then that went down. So yeah, I don't think I was ever like a shining superstar ever. As much as I thought I was. Like looking back on it, I was an extremely confident young kid. Like when you're younger, you don't even realize like there's other kids in the like who hoop and who are probably better than you, but you think like, oh, I put in the most work and I'm better than all these kids because I'm not playing travel. I'm not going around playing against a bunch of kids. I'm just shooting in my driveway. Like you think you're the best in the world, and I think a lot of hoopers can understand that and definitely say that they felt the same way before.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was a kid that like middle school, like I played basketball since, like you were saying, like 5 or 6, but balancing it with all those other sports, and I was a kid just having fun. So I wasn't thinking like, oh, one of these days I'm gonna have to decide like, is it gonna be basketball, is it gonna be soccer or whatever. So, but it was in like middle school when I really decided like, all right, I want to play basketball. But I was an average, below average, probably basketball player at that time. So I was getting cut in middle school. Like I got cut both years in middle school, never made the
Oh,
team.
really?
Yeah.
You ever played middle school ball?
Never played middle school ball. I got cut both years. And then,
Wow.
but ultimately I feel like that's like, the way I responded to that was just, hey, I knew I had to get better, and I could have let it just like discourage me and quit, or like how I responded was just like, hey, I got to work harder, and then ended up making it in high school. So I would say I was more of a late bloomer. Still was never like an all-star, nothing crazy, but
Right.
I made like big leaps in just a short period of time. So
No, I think that's like a really important thing to like happen, or a really important moment in your life, and for most people. Like mine came a little later. I mean, you said you got cut in middle school, but like little things like that obviously it was monumental at the time. Like that probably really hurt you in some sort of way, right?
yeah.
But like I tried out for varsity my freshman year. So I played JV my freshman year. So I got cut from varsity. And like
Mm.
that moment, and that like that night, that was my name was not called or said on the phone. Like I realized like, shoot, I need to get better. I need to get better. I need to go after this. I need to put in more work. Like I need to be more dedicated than I ever was. And like that's when I, like you said, that's when you make the bigger leaps, when you lock in even more. And you have setbacks that become something like that drives you even more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You almost need a moment like that. I feel like to become the player you want to become. I mean, you probably know it just as well as I do, but we've seen guys that were good since middle school that felt like they were, like they were just natural athletes. They were good at a young age. And then I feel like they actually hit a spot like in high school or some in college where they kind of just, leveled out. They stopped putting in the work because they've just had it so naturally their whole life. Whereas, someone like yourself, you had to go through like getting cut, or you had that one moment that was like a light bulb moment where it's like, okay, like I'm gonna outwork everybody.
No, it's like it can't all be sweet.
Yeah.
Like it just can't. That's just not life. There's
You
ups and
you need that
downs.
adversity.
It's not a straight line. Like there's peaks, there's valleys, and it's just how you get through them, and how, like how you respond is like the most important thing. And it's either you put in the work or you don't put in the work.
Definitely. definitely. So you and I came up kind of in different times. I'm a lot older than you, but like
Not a lot older, let's say that.
bro, I graduated 2010, man. I'm up there. But
You're not that old, bro.
well, this is going to make it sound old though. So like when I was growing up and coming up, middle school, high school, we didn't have trainers or anybody particularly that like, like I didn't have my own personal trainer, or I didn't have weekly sessions that I was going to get better. Like my training came from like at an early age, my dad just being in the driveway rebounding for me, or going to the court and rebounding for me. And then a lot of time just spent by myself, like outside on outdoor hoops, like
Yeah.
just putting in the work. So what was that like for you? Did you have someone that pushed you for, or like, did you have a trainer your whole life growing up, or what was that like?
It's really funny you say that, because like I have like a very long progression of people who have helped me become the player I am today and helped me be where I'm at. Um, but really it started like you said, my dad. My dad was always, he taught me how to shoot the ball. He didn't have all the moves and stuff like that. He's like more of a fundamental guy, but he taught me everything I know about my jump shot. And he would rebound for me. We would play some one-on-one in the driveway. But he was like the first person who ended up helping me. And then my AAU coach, Jordan Davis, like we would put in some crazy work before practice, and like during AAU practice. And he was that was like kind of my first training.
Mhm.
I'm not totally sure. Like he was definitely the initial person, but we would do a ton of ball handling, but we'd have like our whole AAU organization work out at once. So we were all be like 50 kids in one gym doing ball handling stuff, strength workouts, jump ropes. So he helped me, like big thanks to him. Like that's my guy. So, but then like in middle school, actually like Nolan Smith used to work me out a lot.
That's great.
Um,
Yeah.
and that's definitely a big bro. And I thank him. I mean, he's an assistant coach now. He's one of my coaches, but he and I have been pretty close for a really, really long time. But it was sick to have him fresh out of the NBA, like working me and my brother out uh, right after Duke's practice and stuff like that. So um, that was another step, and he took it a little further, more, and personalized it a little more. And he taught me a lot. And then in high school, I got connected with um, so with the girls team, the women's team, there was assistant coach named um, Rennie Hayes, and her husband was an overseas hooper. His name's Chris Dunn. Like damn near a father figure to me. Great dude. We're really, really close. And he and I worked out all of high school. Like, and that's probably when I made the biggest jumps with him. Um, he taught me a lot. He knew so much in the weight room, on the court. He just had that international feel to his game, that craftiness, like, and he just loved being in the gym. And now he's a coach um, uh, at LIU Brooklyn on the women's side, assistant coach and lead player development guy, like doing what he should be doing, helping other guys become good hoopers. And then you and I got connected in quarantine, and then my game
about a
was
year ago now.
Yeah, so that's crazy, dude. We only known each other for a year, but
I think it was like last August, right? I
probably
think it was August or July,
gee,
maybe. I don't know.
probably July, a little earlier in the summer. But you and I put in work every day, whether that was in the morning, in the mid afternoon. And I love working out with you. Like you and I have gotten pretty close. Like you're my guy, and like we just chop it up too. And so,
No.
like you said, going back to, I've had a lot of trainers and guys who work me out and stuff, but like I don't like it really started with my dad, like you said, but I think it's important now. Like it's a popular thing to have a basketball trainer. Like that's the way to get better. I'm not trying to like knock the basketball trainers and everything, but it's a good thing to have, but a little later. You know what I mean? You don't need to shoot 8 years old,
Yeah.
like with a personal trainer.
Yeah, I feel like that
You're gonna learn
burnt
more.
out.
You're gonna learn more by yourself, like
Absolutely.
just experimenting, right? So
And at that age, I think you can't. I mean, it's great for a kid to really love basketball, but you don't want to burn them out with sessions. At that point, I think at that age, they just want to play and have fun with their friends, which is fine.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Like, yeah, you should. It's fun. The game of basketball is fun. It should be that way. Like, and you should be having a good time. But then it is essential to have somebody who you talk hoops with and they teach you what they know, because
Yeah,
they definitely know more than you do when you're that young. So
definitely.
a necessary tool if you want to
Yeah,
elevate your game.
absolutely. Dude, you remember you brought it up just like how we met about a year ago or whatever, but do you remember the first time we worked out? Do you remember kind of like when we were just talking before we even started the workout?
Like
Told
over DM and stuff, or
No, I'm talking about when we first met up. Well, you remember the first session was at a Grand Slam, right?
no, it wasn't.
It wasn't?
It was RCA, right?
No, first session.
No, it totally was Grand Slam.
Yeah. It was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
mid-afternoon, I feel like too. Like, yeah. And I
Yeah,
remember
that was it. Yeah,
and I was like, I knew going into it, because we had only spoken like over like IG or whatever, but I was like, I'm gonna be real upfront with this dude like right away. And I told you, like, one of the first things I told you was like, hey bro, I'm not gonna lie to you. I grew up a Carolina fan.
I grew up a Carolina fan. Yeah, I totally remember
And
that.
your reaction was hilarious because you were just like, oh gosh, or something, or like, but yeah, no, I mean,
Literally
and
the
then
first thing you said.
hey, I was gonna be upfront with you. I wasn't just gonna act like
And now we're wearing a Duke shirt. Look how far we've come.
that's what I was just about to say. It comes full circle. Like, grew up Carolina fan my whole life, and yeah, now you see me wearing a Duke shirt. So I get a lot of crap about it from my boys that that I'm friends with at work and stuff. And they're like, dude, Eddie was a Carolina fan this whole time, and now all of a sudden, like, I'm showing up to like Zoom meetings at work, like wearing a Duke tee or something like that, and they're just like clowning me for it. But
You got to support the fam. Come on.
yeah,
That's what you
absolutely,
tell them, right?
absolutely, yeah.
Love it.
And they always say, oh, you can support him without supporting the whole team. And I'm like, nah, man.
No, it's
He contributes to their success, so I
right.
pull
There you go.
both together, like,
there you
for sure.
go.
But yeah, man. So no, yeah, I guess we kind of got off topic there, but yeah, I think kids are super fortunate nowadays to have access to trainers. There's so many of them, and ultimately it's a good thing, that they're doing that. Now, where do you stand? This is a conversation I like to have a lot. Like, where do you stand on like a kid's development? Let's say a middle school or high schooler, training versus playing pickup.
That's a really good question. I think it's necessary to do both, but not too much of one and not too little of the other. It's got to be a good balance. And I probably I've had experience of that. I've done probably a lot more training than I have pickup. But this can also be like, I try to avoid it because I want to work on my game and everything. But there's a lot of like crappy pickup.
Really bad habits.
Like, you can go to a park. Like, I just don't do that too much because I think it's just bad basketball. Yeah, you learn a lot of stuff. Like, you learn to be a dog and everything. But once you get to a certain level, you're trying to learn the in and outs of basketball and of the game. And you can't do that in the park. You got to have like actual hoopers, not just like dudes who do it for fun. You know what I mean? But I think it's, like you said, it's a interesting topic to talk about because you should have a balance of both. You can't just only work out and never hoop. That doesn't work out. You can't only play pickup. Like, you got to work on your game. You got to get shots up. But where do you stand on it?
Yeah, I'm with you. I feel like there should be a healthy balance. I think it's because, I mean, for instance, I can get guys in the gym. We can work on these different, sets of skills, whether it's, footwork related, ball handling related, but, simply getting in with me for, hour and a half, and then thinking that they can just go ahead and apply it is completely different, So I think pickup is, I mean, I try to make workouts feel as much as possible like, a game scenario, but at the end of the day, it's not the same as actually getting in there and playing, no matter how hard, I try. But so I think being able to go into a pickup setting and work on the skills that we've been learning in training or the things that you're working on is important. But like you said, you have to be mindful of who you're playing with. You don't want to go up to like the local rec center and you've got, Joe Schmo out there who's undercutting people on layups or playing, dirty basketball. So you got to be mindful. Like, I feel like if you set it up where you can play pickup with a bunch of friends that are basketball players like yourself and that
Yeah,
game, and I feel like that's where it'd be like super beneficial.
absolutely. But like I said earlier, like it's important to have those experiences and actually to go to the park and do that, because you learn things that aren't like all basketball. Like you learn to be tougher.
The
Like,
mental side.
yeah, absolutely. But it's a lot of one-on-one, not great basketball. So I try to stay away from that. Yeah,
Yeah, for
absolutely.
sure. Well, yeah, man. Let's pick back up. Like, tell me a little bit about your high school career. Like, some things that you really, I guess that you were really happy about in high school, and maybe some things that you thought maybe you could have done better. Like, just taking it back to those 4 years at Durham Academy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not trying to like gas my high school career up, but like we were pretty good. Like we put DA on the map for sure, and we had a lot of good basketball players come out. I mean, a lot of guys who played D3, some D2, and a lot of Division I guys. But like I did enjoy my time at DA. Different system than most schools. Like we, I feel bad. I don't know if I should say any of that. I'm not going to say anything. It's going to be wild. It's going to come back to me. But no, I wish I would have spent some more time in the weight room when I was in high school. Um, just because I didn't realize how physical like the college game is. But I also feel like that could have helped me a lot in high school. But
You
like,
primarily played what, the one in high school?
so the thing is, that's good. I appreciate you saying that. I played a lot off the ball,
Mm.
and it was probably like in AAU. I played a lot. Played point guard, but when I came to school, we had a really good point guard, and he did most of the ball handling. But it was a lot different from high school to AAU for me. AAU, I could really like rock out and be my own player, but in high school, I was more of a strictly like 3-point, 3-and-D guy.
Really?
And I wish I wasn't that, but that's just kind of how my role, what that was morphed into, how I morphed into the team and getting playing time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like for other kids, a lot of kids jump ship and transfer schools because they don't like the role that they play.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't do that. Maybe probably should have done that. See the recruitment side go up, so I can have 30 shots a game. But that's not. At the end of the day, that's not basketball, anyways. Not many guys are getting 30 shots a game.
Right.
So if you're in the NBA, you're doing that. But yeah, I mean, I didn't average a lot in high school. I shot the ball pretty well, but I wasn't a crazy high school player with a ton of accolades and everything. But
Right.
one thing I'm proud about in my high school career is that we just won. Like we did some stuff in school history that had never been accomplished, and I'm proud of that. I mean, we won the conference, which twice, which we hadn't ever done. Not ever done. We hadn't done in like 20 plus years, and
Right.
I ended up like my class ended up being the winningest class in Durham Academy history. So I'm proud of that. But I don't have any individual accolades of, oh, I'm
Yeah.
1,000-point scorer, 40 points a game. No, I didn't. That wasn't me, and that wasn't my role.
I think and this is a completely other topic, but I think it says a lot about who you are as a player, by, hey, like you might not have gotten the role that you necessarily wanted as a high school basketball player, but you decided to stick through it and finish out and play all 4 years at that school, where I feel like now you see a lot more kids, not to rag on today's kids, but like you see a lot more kids, like when times get tough, they're like, all right, I'm transferring and I'm out. You see, it's more common now to see kids going to 3 different schools throughout high school.
Absolutely. Like kids jump ship so fast. And that's just like, that's college basketball too these days. And I don't know how much of it are actually the kids. It's more the parents. Parents are crazy these days.
Yeah.
And I was raised, my mom and dad, very lucky to have them. Like I was raised, if you start something, you're going to finish it. You don't quit.
Yeah.
You don't jump ship. Like,
Same.
so that's really what the motto and the drive, where that drive came to stay at DA. Like,
Yeah.
because I had been there. I didn't go to any other school. I went to Durham Academy my entire life. So I literally started what I finished what I started.
Sure. Yeah, and I mean, kind of to backtrack on that, I just like I'm not against people transferring and getting up and leaving, but I think if it's for the right reason, if there's a legitimate
Absolutely.
like, hey,
Absolutely.
I'm killing it here and I want to go somewhere else to play better competition, or if it's a matter of you moving or just there's just a legitimate reason being, but like so many times it's like, oh, I didn't coach doesn't like me, I'm out, and I think it definitely makes you a stronger player mentally to kind of toughen to get through that. Because, like you said, the college level, I mean, everybody's not going to be a 20-point per game scorer. You're going to have to get accustomed to playing a role, and it might not always be the role you want, but like you have to find ways to positively impact the game.
Absolutely.
420, it's like, okay, what can I do to get play time? Am I going
Right.
to lock up? Am I going to, rebound? Am I going to be that guy, that energy guy? Like, it's just not like, I think the mindset nowadays is like, oh, I have to get my 20 shots a game. I have to, I want to be the first or second option, but the next level, that's rarely the case.
You're very, like, you hit it, the hammer on the nail right there. Like, it's almost encouraged to jump ship, like especially in college basketball now with the one-time transfer rule. Like if things aren't working, like kids think it's not me, it's them. It
Yeah.
can't be my fault. It's somebody else's. Like I'm getting jobbed or like anything along the lines of that. Like
Yeah.
when things aren't going right, go the other way. You don't attack it straight on. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's not how things should be or how it should work.
Exactly. I agree. But like I said, there are justified reasons for
Absolutely. And
every situation. I'm
I'm
not trying to say,
completely on your side. Yeah. I'm not trying to hate on everybody.
yeah,
Like you said, there may
exactly.
be a coaching change. It may be like change of scenery, anything. Like if that helps you as a player, do that. I completely respect that. But I'm saying like some kids just, they jump ship quicker than they should. Like they
Yeah.
never give it a chance. So that's my point. I completely agree with you. Like there are a ton of justifiable situations um,
Yeah,
to do that.
for sure. So obviously you had a good high school career at Durham Academy, and you decided to go off to Duke, which obviously is like widely considered probably the best school in America, academically, athletically, like all the above. So tell me like what it was like your first few weeks just stepping on campus there and being a student of Duke University. Like what was that like?
I mean, like I would often find myself being like, is this really real? I still do that today too. Like it's just an amazing school, and just to be a part of that is something special in and of itself. But then being a part of the basketball program is a dream come true. Um, like like it's so hard to explain the feeling because it's like no other. Um, and I've definitely found myself like trying to pinch myself, be like, yo, am I still dreaming about this? But yeah, like those first week or two on campus were really just a huge adjustment. Um, like college is so much different than high school, but also just being here, like I had to train my mind to be like, yes, you are actually here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like you said, it's the best school in America, no question about it.
It's just crazy to think about because like I can imagine myself how I was as a kid, and like most kids are like, oh, I want to go to Duke when I grow up, but it's very like that gets said so often, but there's very few kids that can actually say that happened. You know what I mean? So for you to be one of the guys that have been like, yeah, I'm at Duke University, like that's like,
Yeah, no, I feel like everybody wants to go here, so I just feel incredibly grateful to be here and to have the opportunity to be a part of the program and the school.
and tell me a little bit about like the atmosphere there. I mean, like obviously it's a huge sports school, so like even like the non-athletes just get behind all the teams, like whether it's basketball, football. Like what was it like your first time suiting up, stepping out onto the court, let's say first home game at Cameron? Like what was that like? Something that you're always going to remember, I'm
Oh,
sure.
I'll never forget it. It was nuts. And my freshman year, like we were really, really good. And just being at those games, the atmosphere is crazy. And I'm hoping we can get back to that because I really got only half of a season worth, half of a season's worth of like that Cameron experience of being a part of the Cameron crazy, the game, the whole atmosphere.
Yeah.
So I was really robbed of that. And then last year, no fans and everything. So I've definitely thought of that plenty of times, that first game, because it's nuts. That's the only way I can describe it. And people get behind it. There may be students that have no idea how to play basketball, but it doesn't matter. Like as long as it says Duke's winning on the scoreboard, they're behind you, they're cheering you on. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know never been there, but like that, every time you watch it on TV, you just sense like you can sense the atmosphere just coming from your TV screen. Like, yo, Cameron's rocking. Like, and that's always, yeah.
Yeah.
Up, down in the game, that place is always.
No, always. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping we can do that, but I'm not sure what
Yeah.
Duke's going to say about that. You never know.
Yeah. Guess we'll just have to see. But that kind of leads me into the next topic is, this is something I've talked about with some of my players before and like more at the high school level though. So it's like, what was that experience like, going from playing in an atmosphere that's crazy like that to last year where no fans? Like, I know some people are like, oh, it makes a huge difference because, we have especially at Duke, you guys have a crazy atmosphere like we talked about. But then you got the other people that are like, oh, dude, we grew up playing basically with no fans in AAU gyms and stuff like that. So like, what's your take on that? What was it like? Did you like it or just what are your thoughts on that?
So I really didn't like it. I didn't. Last year was a pretty tough year for everybody. We also didn't have the best year. We weren't as good as we should have been, and we lost a lot of close games. And I think you can attribute that to not having fans, like not getting over that. Oh, we're going on a run. The crowd's behind us.
Right.
There's no crowd, and people can make the comparison. Oh, we grew up in empty AAU gyms and all that, bro. We had no one in the gym. Our parents weren't even allowed. Parents go to the AAU games.
Yeah.
You could hear the crazy AAU moms. All you could hear was the ball bouncing.
Yeah.
Like, so it's totally different. And like, I'm excited for this year. Hopefully we can have those fans because that's like, you don't realize how much of a crowd, like how important a crowd is in basketball until you play in an environment like that.
I mean, obviously I never played in that environment, but you can definitely tell that in a lot of scenarios, it's huge because I mean, we've seen it even in the high school levels, you get a couple buckets and then the crowd is rocking, like that leads to like more energy, offensively, defensively, that can break out you can get a couple fast break buckets just off of, off the energy. I mean, it makes a difference. Like,
no, 100%.
I can only imagine that. Yeah. At Duke, like that's huge. Like that's almost like what was it? Seattle Seahawks that say they have like
the 12 man
or whatever. Yeah. That's like y'all's,
absolutely. The Camera Crazies are definitely our 6 man.
Yeah.
But like,
absolutely.
It was wild. Like the progression of COVID throughout the year. And then our last conference game was at Carolina. And that's when they like lifted the rules. And there was like, I don't know how many people there were there. Probably, I don't know. I'm guessing probably like 10,000 people is what I'm guessing. That was our first time playing in front of fans. And they were wild too. Like it was really loud for only having that many people there. And when Carolina can fit a bajillion people in there, right? But we had never played in an environment like that. And then we get down big and it just keeps getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
Like, so we weren't ready for that. And it was a huge adjustment at the end of the year to be in an environment like that after being in a dead silent gym.
Definitely. And one of the last things before, I'll let you go here is like, I think this is a huge point that I'm trying to get across to a lot of the kids and stuff that I work with, especially at the high school level. Tell me a little bit about, your day in the life, of being a college athlete. Like, I know a lot of the high school kids think, it's going to be easy, but I'm constantly trying to put in their mind that, hey, this is a full-time job. So tell me like what a normal day looks like for you.
Yeah. So I'll just read our schedule for tomorrow. Or the week really. So tomorrow we have conditioning at 7 in the morning on the track. And then we have classes from like 8:30 to about 1:30. Sorry, there's a fly in my room. And then we have workouts from 2 to 4. So in the morning and before school, after school, like it never stops. Like you got to realize that like it's a business. Like people get paid like for coaching you, but also like you need to help them win so they can keep their job. So it's extremely serious.
Yep.
And I don't want to say it's a grind because that kind of has a negative connotation to it, like it's a bad thing. No, dude, it's awesome. Like you gotta love the sport to be a college athlete. And if you don't love it, like you can you can also fall out of love with it by putting in all this work. But like I said, there's morning, there's afternoon, there's late at night, like, and the season hasn't even started yet. Like we're doing workouts and stuff, but the season we haven't even gotten down to the thick of it. So like practice is usually like that gap for practice is about 4 hours, and you're working during that.
Yeah.
Like it, you get after it, you gotta be ready because you have to win. Like these guys have to win to keep their jobs, and and you don't realize that like that it's a business until probably after your freshman year. Like it's important. Like their lives depend on that. Their lives depend on the work you put in, like on all that. So it's like you said, it's kind of a full-time job. But that again puts a negative connotation on it. Like
Yeah,
if you love the sport, you'll love being a college athlete.
definitely. Yeah. I mean, I've seen kids that like maybe I went to high school with, do a year or two in college playing ball and whatnot. And then all of a sudden you're like, you see that they're no longer playing. And I've talked to multiple guys where I'm just like, hey man, like, so what happened? Like, you're not playing anymore. And they're just like, man, it wasn't for me. It's a lot, I figured out I didn't really love the game like I thought I did. So, and I think that's a common thing that happens. And I mean, I don't think a lot of the younger guys when you're in, sophomore, junior, senior year of high school, you're not really thinking about that. You're just like, oh, you're thinking about all the glitz and glamour that comes with
Absolutely.
ball, but you're not thinking about all the work that's ahead of you.
You're so right. And then like I think it's important to mention that you're honestly in the gym and working on like basketball things more than you're in the classroom. And like that's a
Yeah.
huge difference from high school to college. Um, which is a lot better. I mean, who wants to be in the classroom, right? But I'm just
Yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
like, you're in the gym so much more, which is a huge difference and a huge adjustment. But like you said, it's so easy to fall out of love with just because it never stops. Once you're in it, like you're in it until you graduate, right? And some
Yeah.
kid, like it's tough, but like I said earlier, life doesn't go in a straight line. There's
Yeah.
peaks and there's valleys. So yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, along with all the work you're putting in, obviously, like you're doing 2, 3 a days, so whether it's, skills work on the track, like you said, but like along with that comes, pain, injury, soreness. So like you're having to like really focus on your body and stuff as well, like much more than you would at the high school level. I mean, do you find yourself having to do a lot of recovery?
Oh, oh my gosh. Heck
Yeah.
yeah. Like that's another adjustment. Like you don't realize how taxing these workouts are on your body. Like it adds up. And you have to be stretching. You gotta hit the tubs, the hot tub, the cold tub. You gotta hit the leg sleeves, the Normatex, the massage
Yeah.
gun. It's so important. You have to make an investment on your body. Like your body needs to recover. And it's important to get them on the right sleep, the the treatment you need, like
Nutrition, like all that.
nutrition. That's huge. Like I see guys who don't eat and they don't get through the workouts. They're not explosive or like as responsive if they don't eat. Like all that stuff is so important. And like I take just because it's definitely the norm at Duke just to have all these things in line. But like we have a nutritionist, we have a weight coach and conditioning coach, like a trainer, a physical therapist, like all those guys for us are unbelievable resources for us. And I'm incredibly thankful for it. But like, I'm not sure if other schools have that. Um, but they help us recover. And like you said, it's really, really, really important to like take care of your body, get
Do
sleep,
you
stretch, tubs, all that. I'm probably in the cold tub every other day.
Sure. I'm sure. Do you wish you would have done more of that like in high school?
I
Like
don't
stretching and
I
stuff.
don't think
Like,
you need it.
but I mean, dude, like
Stretching, I would have stretched.
I was gonna say,
Maybe I would have grown a little more.
I get I mean, I'm telling guys constantly that I get in the gym because they'll walk in the gym with their bag, grab their shoes, put them on, and they're immediately stepping onto the court. They're like 10 minutes later trying to dunk, you know, and I'm just like, dude, you didn't even stretch. Like they're not stretching before or after. And
Right.
I get it because I was the same way in high school, but it's like now that I'm
Not the same.
30, like I don't even play anymore, but like I have aches and pains and stuff like in my knees and legs and stuff. And I'm like, man, I wish I would have stretched. And I try to tell them that, like, dude, start stretching now.
Uh,
Like develop good habits now.
you say you're not almost 30, but I'm 20.
29, bro.
All right. Well, I'm 20 and I feel the exact same way. Like it just catches up to you. And it's really important to take the time to stretch, like just so you can avoid injury. So no, you're so right. It's just not the same. I'm not that kid to be going dunking in 10 minutes. No, my body's got to get warm.
Absolutely. Well, cool, man. Hey, just to kind of close off, like, what are your goals this year? Obviously, at Duke, like, what's your goals, maybe individually, but also as a team? If you want to close out with some of those, and yeah, that'd be great to hear.
My goal is to just continue to grow as a player, work on my lateral quickness, become a better defender. 'Cause that's important. You can't be on the court if you don't play defense. And as a team, I just want to win a national championship. I just want to win this year. Last year we didn't win, and hopefully we can get through the season without any interruptions, and be able to finish it, and finish on the top, win a national championship. So absolutely.
Definitely. Well, hey, man, we're rooting for you. Again, I appreciate.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Always, you know, it's always good to chop it up with you. You know, we have these conversations kind of frequently, but it's cool to
Absolutely.
this platform and be able to share kind of some of your experiences. So I appreciate it. If you want to go ahead, where can people follow you on Instagram?
No, I'm not shouting my Instagram out.
Come on, man.
No, we're not doing that.
Hey,
All right,
at Michael Savarino.
my Instagram is at Up Next Hoops.
My guy.
Shout out Up Next Hoops and Eddie. That's
Cool,
my
man.
guy. No, I appreciate you having me.
I appreciate it, bro. Hey,
Season 3 on the way to it with Mike said.
definitely. Great way to start season 2. But yeah, man, I appreciate all your time for real.
Thanks, brother.
All right, man. I'll catch in with you later.
My guy, appreciate it.
All right, bro.
You be good.
You too.